movie, The Visit. Warning, spoilers ahead. Loretta is a single mother. Her daughter, Becca, is interviewing her. Becca is passionate about the movie industry, so she wants to make a documentary about her family. During the interview, Loretta shares that she was a rebel when she was younger. She ran away from home at the age of 19 to live with Becca's father, but he left her after 10 years of marriage and 2 children, Becca and her son, Tyler. Loretta did not speak with her parents since she left home. Her mother and father live in Pennsylvania for 15 years, and they volunteer as counselors in a hospital. Loretta's parents try to find anything about her through social media and want to meet their grandchildren. Becca and Tyler decide to meet their grandparents. Loretta takes Becca and Tyler to the train station. This is the first time Loretta is apart from her children. Becca and Tyler are happy and excited to finally meet their grandparents because their mother has a boyfriend, and the children want her to spend more time with him. The children arrived and the grandparents pick them up. The grandfather is really nice and friendly, and the grandmother has a warm smile and long hair. They live outside the city in a quiet neighborhood. The children soon realize there are no close neighbors around. They will stay with their grandparents for 1 week. Becca and Tyler are having a good time with Pop Pop and Nana. Nana is sweet and cooks great food for them. The children sleep in their mother's room when she was a girl. Pop Pop enters the room and warns them not to go to the basement because there's a lot of mold inside. Tyler is a sensitive boy and is afraid of germs. He likes everything to be clean. While he's lying on the bed, he notices there is no signal in the house. To communicate with their mother, Loretta, they will have to use the internet. The cable for the internet is only available downstairs in the kitchen. They call their mother through a video Skype call. On Monday, Tyler wants to video a scene outside in the snow. While recording, he saw Pop Pop entering a cabin. Tyler calls for him, but he does not answer like he doesn't care. That night, Pop Pop enters the children's room to tell them they're so happy to meet them, but the bedtime is at 9:30 p.m. Becca and Tyler are laughing because no one goes to bed that early. It's nighttime, 10:23 p.m. Becca wants some of Nana's cookies. She goes downstairs to the kitchen in the dark. Becca does not want to wake up her grandparents. In the hallway, she noticed Nana vomiting. Becca thinks perhaps she's ill. It is Tuesday. Becca is looking for Pop Pop to tell him Nana was throwing up last night. Pop Pop tells her that is normal for grown-ups to do. Becca and Tyler are playing hide and seek under the grandparents' house. Their mother used to play there when she was a little girl. While they're playing, Becca suddenly notices a strange figure chasing her. She manages to escape, but the figure is now after Tyler. They manage to run out from under the house. To the children's surprise, they find out the figure was actually Nana. They're confused and don't know what happened to her to act like this. A guest visits them, Dr. Sam, who is working at the hospital where their grandparents are volunteering as counselors. They did not show up for a couple of days, so he wanted to check if everything is okay. But Nana and Pop Pop are not home. Tyler is curious about the situation and wants to investigate the content of the cabin near the house. He thinks someone's body is in there. Inside the cabin, Tyler strangely finds a lot of dirty diapers. Tyler runs and immediately tells everything to Nana. She tells him that some older people need diapers. It's not very pleasant, so they keep it to themselves. Tyler is full of understanding. Pop Pop takes the children for a walk into town. In town, their grandfather thinks someone is following him. He attacks the man. Becca and Tyler are in shock, but Nana again explained to them that some older people have trouble remembering things. At night, Becca and Tyler heard some strange noises outside their room. Curious and brave, Tyler decides to open the door to see what's going on. To their surprise, they saw Nana, naked, scratching the door. She seemed like she was possessed, but then things got even weirder. On Wednesday, the children recount everything they saw to Pop Pop, but he seems busy. He explains to them that Nana has some kind of syndrome that appears only at night in older people. Becca tells her grandfather that she is worried and also starting to forget things. That day, Nana tells the children that their grandfather often forgets things. She apologizes for pouring batter on the laptop camera. Now, Becca and Tyler can see their mother on video call, but she can't see them. Loretta is on the cruise with her boyfriend and having a great time. She warns the children that sometimes older people can act strange and be forgetful. Becca sees her Nana alone smoking in the kitchen. She really wants her documentary to be the best it can be, so she wants to interview Nana, but she declines. Nana asks Becca to clean the oven with an ice-cold voice. Becca listens to Nana and starts to clean the oven. Eventually, Nana agrees to be interviewed. Becca asks Nana why her mother ran away from home. She's started to act strange, like something is going to explode inside of her. Becca stopped the interview. The night approaches and Tyler puts the camera in the living room, but Becca tells him no. After 10 p.m., Becca and Tyler again heard the strange noise outside their room. They opened the door and saw Nana running around the house and crawling. Obviously, something was going on with Nana. On Thursday, the whole family took a walk in the woods. The children saw Nana looking strangely at the well in the woods like she is looking for something. Pop quickly pulled Nana away. Becca and Tyler are curious about what was going on, so they returned to the well, but there was nothing. At home, Tyler found Nana just standing and looking at him. He is convinced something strange is in the basement, and he wants to check it out. Becca again says no because there's nothing in the basement except mold. A woman named Stacy visits them. She did not see the grandparents for a couple of days, so she dropped by to check on them. They're not home, so Stacy left. That day, the atmosphere in the house was tense. Becca heard the sounds on TV and her Nana laughing, but when she approached Nana, she realized Nana is sitting in a rocking chair and laughing to herself. With a scarf, she tried to strangle herself. Becca goes to the cabin to look for Pop. To her shock, he put the rifle in his mouth. He saw Becca and lied to her that he was only cleaning the rifle. After the incidents, Becca thinks Tyler is right and something weird is going on in the house. The children decide to put up the cameras in the house. That night, their Nana starts to walk alone in the house. She notices the camera in the living room and takes it. Nana looks possessed. She goes to the kitchen, takes a knife and goes to the children's room. Luckily, their room is locked. On Friday, the children watch the camera footage. Becca decides they will leave the house that night. While they're in their room, they hear an argument outside. They look through the window and see their grandparents having an argument with Stacy. The children are waiting for their grandparents to leave the house so they can use the internet in the kitchen. Becca cleaned the camera on the laptop so Loretta can finally see her children. They want Loretta to pick them up that night and to go home. Loretta is in a panic and asks them where are Nana and Pop. Tyler takes the laptop and points it to the window so Loretta can see it. Loretta tells them that they are not their grandparents. She does not know who those people are. Loretta calls the police, but no one answers. She will go to the house herself. The grandparents entered the house. Becca noticed the photograph on the fridge. In the photo, there were her grandparents with 2 other grandparents. That night, the children are with Nana in the kitchen. They want to leave, but Nana again wants Becca to clean the oven. Nana tells her to go deeper into the oven. All of a sudden, Nana shuts the door of the oven. Tyler comes and yells at her to open the oven, and she finally does. Becca and Tyler need to leave as soon as possible. Becca opens the front door and sees Stacy hanging from the tree. Then, Pop invited the children to play a board game. The game is tense. The grandparents are not acting naturally. Becca needs to leave to recharge her camera battery. Grandfather walked away while grandmother started to eat really fast, almost like she can't stop. Becca decided to go to the basement to see if her real grandparents are in there. At the same time, Tyler is with the grandmother in the living room. Nana starts to panic because it was 9 p.m. Becca finds the photo of her real grandparents in the basement. She also finds a uniform from the mental hospital. Unexpectedly, she discovers the dead bodies of her real grandparents. At the same moment, Pop enters the basement and says his real name is Mitchell and the grandmother's name is Claire. He has a mental illness, and her real grandparents took care of him in the hospital. As soon as they found out that the children were coming to visit, he and Claire decided to take the identities of their real grandparents because they also wanted to have their own grandchildren. Mitchell takes Becca and puts her in a room with Claire. He then goes to the kitchen where Tyler is. Because Tyler is afraid of germs, Mitchell brought with him a dirty diaper and stuck it into Tyler's face. Meanwhile, it is nighttime and Becca has to confront Claire. Like every night, Claire is acting strange. Claire starts to terrorize Becca. She pushed Becca and hit her head in the mirror. Becca takes a piece of sharp glass and successfully defends herself from Claire. Becca runs to the kitchen to save Tyler. She attacks Mitchell, who falls to the floor. Tyler defends himself from Mitchell, who succumbs to his injuries. The children run outside the house. Fortunately, their mother arrived with the police to save them. They hug their mother. The movie ends with Loretta, who is again interviewed. She finally explains how and why she ran away from the home. Loretta was a great singer, and her mother was very proud of her. But she did not approve of her husband. Loretta wanted to leave, but her mother blocked the door and she hit her mother. Her father saw that and hit Loretta. Overwhelmed by the whole incident, Loretta left. Although her parents tried to reach her, she felt ashamed. Loretta tells Becca not to be angry and to forgive her father for leaving them. Family is the only thing that matters.